Okay, so I've started recording really quickly because I need to go. I don't have much time, but I did want to talk about the trade that I've taken today. So as some of you may know, I've made 2 videos so far on the exact same model, the exact same everything that I've described, which I use to trade. The model is out there free to use. Some people might use it, some people might not. Whichever the outcome is, I'm not bothered by it. But today I actually put it to use. I put backtesting aside, I put collecting data aside, and I decided to actually take a trade. The exact same buyers, the exact same stage, the exact same entry, the exact same target, and everything. So starting off, just to be really quick, I won't keep you too much. Last video I talked about how we have reached this fair value gap on the discount side of the matrix. If we go all the way to the left of price, you can tell that although it's small, in between these 2 wicks of these 3 candles, the first one and the bottom one, as some of you may know, is a fair value gap. Now, if you don't know what that means, maybe in the future I'll make videos explaining these things. But for the moment, for those that do know, that's a gap in the market. And once price has reached that, that's where we anticipate our buyers. So I've been anticipating the buyers to be bullish ever since we've reached that. That would mean here, 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 and here. So 1, 2, 3, 4 separate times I anticipated the buyers to be bullish. So the first time it reached up a little bit, and the first 4-hour gap was this one right here. So the target got hit anyways. And then the second time after that, well, after that we hit the second target, the second target up here, which is the 4-hour gap. And then the second retracement down, also just ignore this, that's a different gap. The second retracement to the gap, the target did not actually get hit, but the third one, which I did trade, the target did get hit ultimately. So like I've explained in the first 2 videos, 4-hour gap, once we tap into it, I personally, and you can do this differently, I know a couple of people that use the 15-minute, I use the 5-minute. The 15-minute is perfectly fine to use for stage, just like I've explained in the first 2 videos, which you can watch just to prove that everything I'm talking about is true and is not a lie. It's not cherry-picked like I keep saying in my videos. Tokyo's low gets swept. We know that under Tokyo there's liquidity. We tap into a 4-hour fair value gap. Typically that's where the low of the day will be set in scenarios like these. London then displaces up. Clearly we have a displacement here which actually displaces through many fair value gaps, but we only care about the first one. And based on the very specific criteria that I've mentioned, the model actually showed up right there. And I just wasn't here. I wasn't home when when this happened. In the morning, I wake up at around 7:30, and I've got to go somewhere before I come back in around 30 minutes or so. And during that period of where I was doing that, this is what happened. So the displacement happened within this candle, 2:10, so 2 a.m., 10 past 2 a.m. of New York time. We displaced through this fair value gap right here. And then the retracement into the first ever gap created of that displacement is right here. This is the entry. And as you can tell, once again, there are no coincidences. The middle of it doesn't get reached, but I typically, which is what I did in this trade, I typically take my trade within the very beginning of the gap, and that would be an entry. Now, besides the point, what I'm trying to show you today is a trade that I actually took, which made me $890, I believe, or something like that. $897.60 with commission of 18. So this is it on the chart, as you can tell. So the displacement happened there. But you see, when things like this happen, if you keep seeing highs getting taken out and you keep seeing displacement, you can also offer a retracement into the gap, which technically within this range, the first gap was obviously this one, the second one was this one, third one, and fourth one. I took the third one as an entry. It was literally just right here. This is the beginning of the third gap. And as I said, the fourth one should be the last gap you should consider, which would be this one. That would also be an entry that would be fine in this case. The third one was my entry. I entered right there within this candle. I know that's very accurate. Price actually just shot up. It was bullish for a very long time. It was bullish for 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. For the next 45 minutes, London was bullish. I did anticipate this starting from here, but within the retracement here of the entry, London started to be even more bullish. And then the target did not get reached, which, as I've explained in my first 2 videos, what is our target with this model that I've been teaching and explaining? the next opposing 4-hour gap, which in this case is this one right here on the left. This is the premium 4-hour gap. This is the discount 4-hour gap. Once we've hit that, the next target would be there typically. There's a lot of fluctuations happening between those two gaps, so we've got to be careful with our stop loss location. And in this case, mine, because of the entry was there, it had to be at least minimum below the gap here. So it was 14 pips, targeting 26. As I said in my video, trades like this don't come by often. And if I did take this trade here, this would have obviously been, I think, let me see. This would have obviously been a 7R, which, as I said in my video, they're not common, but they do happen. And I've backtested this a lot. The most I've seen in my backtesting sessions is 4R, which is 4%. But regardless, this was my entry, just around there. The take profit was at the opposing 4-hour fair value gap, as I've been explaining on my videos. And this take profit actually got here within New York. I was holding the whole time. I managed my trade when I saw the first fair value gap get created. I halved my risk to 0.25. And then when I saw the target get missed by a little bit, I actually put it to break even, because at this point, from my experience, the target will either get hit properly next time around when it gets close to it, or it just doesn't get hit at all. And in this case, it did get hit. It got hit twice. So once in New York, and the second time is actually currently now, as it's been hit now. During this moment here, I would anticipate a reversal. This is what this part of the day tends to do. But regardless, that's the entire model that I have been describing, starting from here, describing it there, describing the second, describing the third time it happened, and this is the fourth time next day. I think, when was this? This was on the 15th. Today is the 17th, which I traded here, but the model showed up on the 16th as well, as I explained. So 17th, 16th, 15th, 11th, 10th, and 9th alone, because this is when I've decided to make videos about it. The model that I've been teaching and describing has appeared. Everything that I've taught works. Everything that I explain actually appears on the chart. I wanted to use this chance to explain that I do know every single other concept that ICT teaches. I do understand all of them pretty much, but I don't use all of them. That's what he kind of focuses on for most of his videos when he explains things. I personally never really studied ICT's videos too much. I had a mentor, but besides that, I'm not only mentored by an ICT student, I've been also mentored by a hedge fund manager a long time ago who taught me about macroeconomics. He taught me about quantitative trading, and I've been mixing everything together to just come to the conclusion that the market just moves off of gaps, and that's all you really need to know. In this case, the last few trades that I've taken have actually helped me a lot to progress forward, and I've been only using fair value gaps. Every time I use more than that, it gets complicated and I don't understand what I'm doing. I know the video is very short, but I just wanted to show you the trade that I took based on the model that I've been explaining and teaching on the last 2 videos I posted. Those 2 videos are my first 2 videos, and nothing's changed. This will keep repeating. I'm going to wait for the next setup to show. Perhaps it will be a loss, perhaps it'll be a win. It doesn't bother me whatsoever. The significant part, or the important part, is that I actually follow with the plan and I trade it. I'm still developing it. I've got data to collect, but so far it works more times than it doesn't. And like I explained in one of the videos, when a gap gets hit, it's more likely to be respected than disrespected. The times they just get disrespected, you would obviously not be in the trade, or you would have already been in a trade of which you would have targeted that gap that gets disrespected already. That's the model that I've been teaching. It worked not once, not twice, not 3 times, more than 4 or 5 times in the last 6 days. I only traded it today because I managed to, I had the time to, but it has worked many times, multiple times in a row, and it will continue to work. And it's not precisely because the model itself works. It's mainly because because I've back tested it and I just trust the data. There's a lot of factors within the trading setup of which if you just don't follow, you won't profit from, and that's pretty much it. But yeah, I know I've said a lot. The main point was that the model has repeated itself. I took a trade. It made me $897, which is 0.9, almost 0.9%. I wasn't able to target 1%. Just based on my rules. But yeah, that's all for today. Take care.